Hey friends, John Quirk here. For the past 10 years, I've been a yoga teacher, breathwork teacher, meditation instructor, and the founder of SoCal Wellness Retreats in San Diego, California. So I've had the privilege of guiding thousands of people through transformative experiences, mostly rooted in the idea that by calming our nervous system by using holistic tools, we can live happier, more fulfilled lives. And in my own personal journey, I've experimented with a lot of different modalities: breath work, meditation, yoga, self development work that spans all different genres, Wim Hof, cold exposure. But the one I wanted to speak about today was Joe Dispenza, who has had an indelible impact on my life. I love his teaching. I love his style. I love how he brings communities of people together, thousands of people from around the world, from all different types of background, all different types of challenges, physical, mental, emotional. Um, and makes learning really accessible. And he makes meditation and the power of the mind over the body really accessible. So I wanted to preface this by saying how amazing I think the man is and how much I've been able to gain from him. So I've been to five Joe Dispenza retreats all across the United States, literally from coast to coast. I've gone to them in San Diego, Florida. My first ones were in Denver. I've been there a few times. And I've done over 10,000 hours of Joe Dispenza meditations. I actually just sat down and sort of did the math, and it's kind of a low end estimate of the amount of hours. There was a time where I would get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I would do the 2 hour and 40 minute center of the magnet or heart of the magnet. It's a 2 hour, 40 minute pineal gland meditation. Those that know, it takes you pretty deep. And I did that for a couple months straight. So I've logged a lot of hours. I've had some pretty profound experiences going out of my own body. I've connected to source, quantum, God. At Joe Dispenza's retreat specifically, I've seen people um, overcome incredible ailments. I tell the story of the first retreat I ever went to of his, which was in Denver. I was standing online waiting to get into the event to check in. And there was a lady who was in a wheelchair and she was on a ventilator. And she looked like she was pretty much in like a vegetative state. And I said, whoa, this is pretty heavy. This is going to be pretty tough, in terms of just her journey and her, battles. And by the last day of the retreat, I saw her stand out of the wheelchair and we were doing a walking meditation. I'll never forget. I just saw her stand up out of the wheelchair and I was like, whoa, that's incredible. But the story doesn't end there. A couple years later, I went to Marco Island, which is in Florida, and I was online for registration again. And I was standing telling a woman this story about what I had seen in Denver. And she said to me, "Oh, that was me." And I said, "What?" And she said, "Yeah, once Joe's team found out that I, had had this kind of breakthrough, they offered that any retreat that I wanted to come to, if I could just get myself there, if I could physically show up, that they would waive the fees." And so this is one of the magical things I've heard, just behind the scenes that Joe does for people. He's just him and his team are really out for good is the point. So I've also seen some other amazing miracles. I've had some pretty mystical experiences myself. There was a retreat where I was having a really tough time. It was actually back in Denver the second time, where I was just on the struggle bus. I didn't feel like I could drop in. I didn't feel like I was good, quote unquote, air quotes, at meditation. And then all of a sudden we were finishing our walking meditation. I was laying out in this field and I saw Joe off in the distance, and he walks around and he kind of checks in on people as they're doing these walking meditations. And I was like, man, I really want to just like meet him and give him a hug. But as he started to walk around, there's people in his team that kind of protect him because everybody wants to go give Dr. Joe a hug. And I just felt very unworthy. I felt not worthy to receive. And it was just I was just having a tough week. But all of a sudden he started walking across the field and he was walking like directly in line with me. And I was like, "Man," I was like, "I should at least stand up, like, I should be ready to be face this moment." And he just, like, beelined, like, he knew, like, he just walked over to me, gave me a huge hug, gave me a kiss on the cheek, and it was just like a profound moment of meeting a hero, of meeting somebody that, was really special. So, I also worked with his meditation group for a while, some of his research teams. I was able to be on the forefront of, some of the work that they were doing around understanding the power of meditation. They did a whole study during COVID of how advanced meditators basically couldn't be infected by the COVID virus, and they did that out of the UCSD lab. So I've had a chance to get really in depth with this teaching and with this work. So I wanted to preface what I was going to say with all of that because it's been an indelible impact in my life. And, I've reached a point in my life and just in my journey where I don't use Dr. Joe's meditations anymore. And a lot of people I know that are in his community, they'll still go to the events even, but they've kind of stopped doing his guided meditations. And this is my own anecdotal evidence. This is my own experience. So take it as you will. But if you are on the journey of trying to find your style or find your teacher, I think it's really important to know that teachers are at their best meant to guide us to being more of ourselves. And meditation, by its very nature, if you're brand new or you're thinking about getting into meditation, meditation is not meant to add more things on. It's actually meant to strip things away. The process of sitting with yourself and dissolving that voice inside your head, dissolving the ego, dissolving all the habituations of the mind and all the needs and wants of the body is where we really kind of find the present moment. And in so doing, we typically will find this has been my experience, and many that are advanced meditators will tell you that that's where you find the moments of clarity. That's where you find the moments of intuition. That's where you start to hone the ability to be bigger than the fluctuations of the mind, bigger than even the moment itself. You start to transcend even time and space where you just kind of feel like you are and you feel that connection to something greater than yourself. And there's many different paths up the mountain. This is something I teach and advocate for people that, there's so many different styles. There's japa meditation, there's transcendental meditation, there's all these wonderful different lineages of meditation. And what matters the most is how it makes you feel and how it makes it show up, how it makes you show up in your life. Right. So if you're considering Dr. Joe, if you're considering one of the many amazing teachers that are out there, um, really just know that they are a vehicle to guide you back to yourself. They're really a tool and a conduit to a process or a formula that first worked for them and may help support you on your journey. And at a certain point, much like training wheels, there's a process of kind of, I think, weaning off of some of that or some of those teachers so that you can really find your own way. And so for me personally, like my journey now is, binaural beats using music. I think that music is a great um, tool. Binaural beats specifically, they've seen that they change brainwave activity. They're really incredible. And I also still believe in going to the retreats and going to be in community because we are electric, we are energy, and there is a power when you're with other people doing something like meditation or mindfulness. So the collective is still really powerful. And I advocate for that. And that's why I've been a retreat leader for so long, is because I just know when you get people together with a common goal to think better, to feel better, to be better, that it will improve people's lives. So, if you're searching for more of that, if you're searching for more community, we have resources. We have ways you can join free online breathwork and meditation classes that I host with my team. You can also obviously come to Southern California or to Bali to be with us in person. Those are incredible life changing experiences. Um, but just know that if, again, you're kind of getting into this journey of spirituality, of meditation, you're dabbling maybe with some breath work or different tools, be open, be curious. Definitely start to switch your algorithm, get more of these teachers, more of these modalities into your timeline. Um, but also know that they're not a be all end all. They're not a one size fits all. And you kind of have to extract and take what you need. So hopefully this is helpful if you're new or newish on your journey. And always just happy to help and support folks in this space. So please reach out to me, reach out to my team. If you're interested in working together, I love to do one on one work with people. Even my coaching, it always starts with the inward journey. I don't have a formulaic cookie cutter coaching program. I really teach and advocate for people to understand who they want to be, to create a vision of who they want to be, so that then all the things that we can start to implore. For some people, it is meditation and breath work. And some for people, they need to get moving, they need to exercise, they need to actually do more in their job or with their families. So that's the process that I kind of work with people on, to get really clear about what those goals are. And then we can kind of figure out where balance and structure is sort of needed. And then I'm your biggest cheerleader and also your biggest mirror as well too. So lots of love. Thanks for being here. Thanks for sticking around. And hopefully we'll see you on a retreat or in a class or in the quantum real soon.